Hey 1232 listeners, this is Callie Sue, and I'm here with another episode of the Never Drop Your Sword podcast. This one is all about returning to the days of yore with fantasy balls and fantasy events. What am I talking about? Well, listen to what we have coming up and enjoy this conversation I have with Caitlin and Jenna about their events that they're throwing in Nashville, Tennessee. Listen to this upcoming preview and enjoy this episode. As always, I ask that you please like, share, subscribe. I want more people to hear 1232. I want more nerds to find out about these events and enjoy the show. Stay courageous. This is a podcast for nerds, so no judgment is allowed at all. We've already talked about wings and wing check, so don't worry about it, ladies. Pick your poison. Who are you dancing with?
Let's not talk about this as a new trend. We're kind of going back to when people did gather in this way, and bringing that back into something that people can expect on a regular basis here in town, and just have that chance to dress up and fully immerse themselves in what kind of feels like a different world. We just want you out there having fun, dancing however you want to, friends, jump around. But yeah, it won't be anything too structured.
So our intention is really to blow with, we really want to take this to another level. Like, as you have said, like, we are seeing this happen, we are seeing this trend happen, but we're also seeing a lot of just like repeat kind of things. Like, and the intention with Nashville Fantasy Ball is to really transcend the trend. What so that looks like on our end as creators is really offering something that our guests didn't even know they wanted yet.
Welcome, everyone, Croisa, to another episode of Never Drop Your Sword podcast, where we get to talk to incredibly creative artists and musicians and painters and seamstresses and now event hosts about what they're doing in this world to continue the fun and the storytelling that we all enjoy through fantasy and now through live events. And this is Jenna and Caitlin who've joined me today, and we're going to be talking about their fantasy ball that they're having in Nashville, several actually. And this is a fun, it's not really a trend because these sort of events have been going on for a very, very long time. It's almost like we're going back to the past, which as a time travel medieval fantasy nerd, I love. And so that's why I found them and bugged them to be on the show. So welcome, Jenna and Caitlin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So for the listeners, go ahead and tell us, who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am Caitlin Hart. Together we are WolfHart Productions because we had the perfect last names for this. But I am one half of that, and we are the co-hosts of the upcoming Nashville Fantasy Balls. We are event creators. Jenna, I'll let you introduce yourself.
And I'm Jenna Wolf, the other half of WolfHart Production and co-hosts of the Nashville Fantasy Ball here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Excellent. All right. So for some folks, they're going to be wondering, what fantasy ball? What do you mean? What are you talking about? So let's kind of go into that. I know what I've seen online. It just whisks you away to another world. Tell us a little bit about what is a fantasy ball?
Well, that's a great question. So I think that it is, for us, what we are creating is a in-person live event that is elevated and invites people to embody their favorite characters from fantasy stories, mythology, history, really like embody these heroes, these villains, these lovers, these people from across these stories, dress up, feel as though they are their favorite person in this story, and gather with like-minded people to dance and drink delicious drinks and eat food and step into another world. So really an elevated cosplay kind of event.
And I love what you said about how this is not, let's not talk about this as a new trend. We're kind of going back to when people did gather in this way, and bringing that back into something that people can expect on a regular basis here in town, and just have that chance to dress up and fully immerse themselves in what kind of feels like a different world, but is also bringing it back to what we as humans have done for centuries, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what, at first when I started seeing all this kind of stuff pop up online and everything. I'm like, oh wow, what's going on? Like everybody's kind of jumping on this train. But then I remembered, like, wait a minute. No, like this is something that the gathering place, the communal idea, masquerade balls, costume parties, all of that has been such a huge part of just the human desire and trend of tribes and things like that for very long. And so it's very exciting to see it come back in person in such an elevated way. I like the way you put that, because what I'm seeing you guys putting out, and I know what you're going for, and we're going to talk about when your balls are, how people can sign up, how they can be a part of this. But that elevated experience. So I think that let's talk about that just a little bit, because a lot of us have been to maybe a Halloween costume party, or if you've grown up in any kind of homeschool community like I did, then one of you had to be a home. And maybe you went to some like historical reenactments, and they were fun, and they were also a little cringy and fun, and I don't really have anything bad to say, but I've been to some that were just like, what am I doing here? And so how in this wonderful 21st century, which it is in many ways, how have we elevated this experience? Or how have you guys for years specifically?
Yeah, so I would say we're taking what, you know, we have felt, going back to what you're talking about, some of these like live reenactments and, even costume parties, whatever. We're taking that, and instead of, I think, imitating something, we are creating a real experience. And for us, that is the it's in the details, it's the difference of like, you know, a costume from Party City and some lemonade in a plastic cup than like, actual ball gowns and curated cocktails in actual glassware and eating off of plates with like really nice food and, a live quartet, not recorded music, and taking this back to like what it should actually feel like to be in a space like this rather than just kind of trying to imitate certain elements of it.
Yes, exactly. The devil's in the details for sure. And I am so excited to see how you guys have done that. And I think that is what makes or break a great costume, a great book, or whatnot, is those little bits of details. So, who or what has inspired you guys to take on an arduous task of those expensive, delicate details of putting on an event in Nashville? Like, how did this even begin between the two of you? How did WolfHart Productions happen?
Well, so Caitlin and I have been friends in a different industry. We're both entrepreneurs in Nashville in the wellness space, and that's how we originally met. And we joined, forces just over that camaraderie and then also our love for reading and literature. And when we started seeing these events pop up in other places, we were like, we want to go. We want to go to one of these events. We want to get all dressed up and go and experience this. And realized there was nothing of its kind really anywhere near us. And then we kind of looked at the landscape of Nashville and who we knew and like what the people were wanting. And we just had this idea. I can't remember which one of us said it. We were just like, do you want to just have a party? Like, do you want to just have this party? And initially, like, it was so small. Like, we were just like, maybe our friends will come. Like, maybe we'll have just like 100 people. Like, wouldn't that be awesome? And when we started, kind of walking it out and really putting the bricks into place to build this, we were overwhelmed with how many people were just really wanted to experience this. And I think we underestimated just like the Nashville community, like how big it is now, how many literature fantasy lovers are out there. And so it just kind of took on some momentum that we weren't expecting, but are so excited that we decided to like take these steps, even though it is challenging and we do, expect challenges to continue, but the community is just so behind this event. So
And I also want to say that, you know, we both have this background in business. We've both come from businesses where we are used to curating experiences for people, some
Mhm.
events, all of that. But then we also, as soon as this reached a level where we were like, okay, this is for more than our friends, we did bring on an events team with a ton of experience in some very, very big events, beyond even just weddings and things, some massive events. And so we felt that it was really important once it started to become clear for us. It took like, it was a few weeks of like, is this happening, is this as big as it feels like it is? We decided to bring on some people in the industry that really, really know what they're doing, and just kind of take this to the next level and take that leap that like, this feels like it's going to be big, so let's do it right from the beginning. And
Mhm.
that was definitely the right move. So I say that just, you know, we talk about how we fell into it a lot, but I also want to highlight how we have prepared and we have brought on a team of people that are going to make this amazing.
Absolutely. And that's actually an important thing for our listeners to remember is, I'll just go on a little bit of a tangent here, just from the other people I've gotten to speak to over the course of kind of doing this little series, is that we need we need mentors. We need people and there are people who are so willing to help you. We do live in a society, especially in the United States, that is all about, being independent, which I love being independent, but it can go to such an extreme, especially in business. As a
Mhm.
person, one thing, but especially in business, to where you feel like you've just got to wear all the hats. Every responsibility is on you, and you have weaknesses. And
Yeah.
even though you can work very hard on skill and try to overcome those weaknesses, and other people were created for a reason. Like, community is important. Reaching out to people who do have the experience, who do have the knowledge base to help you, to coach you, to direct you, to mentor you, is so important. And that's a big part of doing this series, is finding ladies like you, finding the different artists that I've talked to, seamstresses, people who did, it was an incredible brainwave. They're on their own individual path, but they have sought out other experts. They haven't been afraid to ask,
Yeah.
and you guys probably had to kind of go, maybe you didn't, but did you have to go through a list of contacts, or what was some of your networking process to find the team that was really going to help elevate this?
I think some of it happened naturally, and that's kind of part of what I think Jenna was alluding to, like going, we could be the host for this, and within our community, our network of business owners, we already know. You know, we
Mhm.
know so many people in town that do little pieces of this already. We already had some of those connections, and it kind of all just clicked like, this is the team. These are the people. And then where we didn't know the people, our events company that we brought on obviously has all of those connections, you know, has
Mhm.
plenty of people they've worked for, to fill in the gaps where we didn't know people. But I think we're fortunate enough to already just be connected with so many creative, talented people.
That's awesome. And that is a big part of doing, especially live events. I talk to a lot of artists. Most artists and creatives are a little bit more introverted, and getting to this step of being able to promote and be out there and network is a real challenge. And then
Mhm.
some of us have a mix of both, and some of us are extremely extroverted, and that's the fun part. And so all we have to do is get everybody connected just a little bit,
Yeah.
and we can have incredible magical events like this. So I think that's what's so fun, is you are taking somewhat of an introverted community, meaning
Mhm.
all of us, some of us are closet nerds, some of us are very hardcore. And I love that this is like the revenge of the nerd era that we're in, with
Yeah.
all of the events and how big cosplays are and how big rent fairs are now. I love it. But side note, but all we've got to do is get connected, and we're seeing that people are very hungry for this sort of thing.
Mhm.
So you talked about the music, and that was a big question for me. And you guys are in Music City, and so I figured there would be some incredible things involved. I've lived in Nashville before and gotten to connect. I'm a musician as well, so I get that process of it. And I was very curious. And you mentioned a live quartet. So
Mhm.
is that live music and musicians are a big part? Is that kind of a consistent thing for you guys?
Yes, our intention, being in Nashville, being Music City, being a home to so many talented people, we absolutely aim to keep these events highlighting local talent. And so we are bringing in Atwood Quartet, who was featured on the recent season of Bridgerton. They will be at the February ball. They will be part of the music and the performance. And we also will have a DJ who will be offering like kind of just like a variety, like across the board dance music, really kind of in line with the themes as well, to give people that space to dance and enjoy their time. So we kind of have a little bit of both, the quartet
and
and
then
the DJ.
We also do have kind of a surprise performer that's going to pop in there that will be a live vocalist as well. And I hope that will continue to evolve in Nashville. We have honestly just unlimited amazing people who've already reached out and connected with us that we can plug into all of these future events, and that's definitely something we intend to do.
Yeah, and it is a value of Nashville Fantasy Ball to highlight local artists and local talent.
Yes, absolutely. And being able to network in a sphere like that is so key. And to highlight, just musicians. I mean, there's no shortage of talent. So I bet it's probably more difficult to have to sort through who's available, what to do, than it is to be like, who do we find to play?
They're there.
I believe that. And with the quartet, let's just get into the music. Are they going to be doing covers of modern songs, but in a classical way? Are there going to be any fun movie track? What are you guys in control of picking some of the music? Do you just give them a theme? Do they?
So, definitely collaborative, but I mean, I keep telling people, imagine what you hear on Bridgerton, which feels like it fits in that era, but it is all songs that you're like, wait, I recognize that. So it will be a lot of covers that you might recognize. Yes, maybe some movie themes. I think probably some classical pieces thrown in here or there, but our intention is to really set the mood with the style, but it be recognizable and fun for people too.
Exactly. Things have got to have that kind of, I've heard this before, I know of this before, to bring that comfortableness to an event. And so exactly, that's fun. I love the kind of bardcore tradition of stuff. That's a great YouTube channel, but also I think that's a very fun way to kind of bring in original music, but then also get everybody's ears perked and relaxed. So we've got we were talking about earlier how it's not just kind of a reenactment. It's not just a social event. We're going to have some beautiful dresses involved. And so is there a dress code for guests?
Yes. Yeah, our dress code is formal attire. So gowns and fancy dresses and suits. And then adding any element to that makes it whimsical or fantasy themed. So headpieces like body armor, cool makeup, anything that's really like takes it to the next level and embraces a whimsical, fantastic kind of element. But it is a formal event.
A formal event. So people could even just kind of zhuzh up that old prom dress or the wedding tux or dye the wedding gown or do some kind of little bit more DIY. They don't have to go out and buy something, although shopping is fun. So why wouldn't you?
Definitely encouraging people to go with that. Like, this is a formal event. Buy something nice to wear. This isn't necessarily a costume party. Don't go buy a costume.
Right.
Buy a formal gown, rent a tux, whatever. And then we do have so many people making their dresses or making elements. Yes, making those headpieces, amazing corsets, capes, wings, all of that.
And I think that's a big draw for people as well. We want a creative outlet and we want to wear these, outfits we've seen or recreate a vision. And this gives like a perfect opportunity for that DIY to dive back into, using your sewing machine and be creative and really like show your authentic personality.
Right. Yes, exactly. So let's, on that kind of note, let's see. Let's kind of rate some great different film gowns, perhaps. I will definitely be. So, if anybody is listening, you'll just have to listen and imagine if you haven't seen these films. But I tried to pick ones that were fairly common, and then, of course, for those watching, we'll pop up the gowns on the screen. I'm assuming you guys know which ones I'm talking about, so you don't get the privilege of seeing them on screen. I think you know. So yeah. So let's begin. So we'll do a rating of 1 through 5. So 1 being not great, 5 being terrific, and we'll kind of base the rating on the ball specifically. Like, what would be the most fun gown to be dancing in, to have that magical entrance moment into the event. Okay, so that's kind of our judging criteria. Does that work?
Yes.
Love it.
Okay. All right. Have you ladies seen Ever After?
Oh, yeah.
Barrymore. Okay. So we've first one up. Number 1 is the Just Breathe gown. So if anybody's not familiar with the film, it's the finale piece that she wears to the masquerade ball. That was, her mother's dress, and then the Da Vinci wings. So the Just Breathe dress is candidate number 1. So we'll just kind of go through them all, and then we'll score them.
Okay.
A little bit easier, so we can kind of get a vision here.
Perfect.
All right. Next is the live action Cinderella film from 2015. So that one had very big blue gown with oh great, I should have her name. Ariel.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It has kind of a sweetheart top to it, but very, very big, very flowy sort of gown, very swirly and blue. All right, next one is, of course, Jennifer Connelly's gown from The Labyrinth.
Iconic.
Yeah, very iconic, right? That with the hair, with all the embellishments, the kind of white. We've got a little bit of a tattered look, but again, the big skirt, nice, nice top there. Another one, which you may or may not be familiar with, is a standout one, which is historically based, and it's from Outlander, and it's the red gown that she wears to one of the first events they sort of attend. It's very sleek. There's no, go ahead. Yeah.
Line.
Yes, a plunging. Yes, it's very fitted. Once again, a big hoop skirt, because I mean, come on, you're gonna go swooshing about.
Yeah.
Also, if you aren't very good at dancing, people can't really tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you fall. Then
That's basically the dress I want for our ball, and I can't find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then the next one is from the old cartoon, The Swan Princess. So this is
that movie?
Yes. So that, I know, right? That's an iconic one that has, it's white, and sometimes the coloration is weird. Sometimes it's white and blue, sometimes it's white and green, but it's got big flouncy sleeves. We have the lovely tie belt, and it's very elegant and very whimsical. All right. Last contestant is the finale dress from the cartoon Anastasia, where she's got her hair up. It's almost has these kind of Audrey Hepburn vibes with the long gloves, and it's got a cape, which is very important. It's kind of got a sparkly cape to it, and it's like a dark blue. It's very fitted, though, so if you're going to dance, you better know what you're doing. Okay, so we have a combination of a little bit more fitted silhouette gowns. The Ever After one is very Bridgerton, high waistline, and then we have a bunch of floofy big gowns. So, ladies, from your expertise, we are judging on that wow moment, that awe-inspiring moment of stepping into the ball and everybody turns to look at you, and we're also judging at the danceability of each gown.
Hard.
That is. Yeah.
I think I know my order. But
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's hear it. Go first.
Okay.
Go first, Caitlin.
I think so would number 5 be the best?
Yes. Number 5.
Okay. My 5 would be the Ever After gown.
Nice.
Followed by the Outlander gown.
Okay.
Then the Labyrinth gown.
Nice.
And then Anastasia, and then Odette from Swan Princess.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay.
I think mine would be almost exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, the ever after gown, like the wings.
It's the
I
well
know. Yeah.
well
But
factor.
yeah.
We always talk about like we want like to take a an aura.
I want to take
Yeah.
up the space of like 5 people.
Yeah. The only problem is room and
Yeah.
hitting people with your wings when you're dancing.
Well, it's got a big skirt or big wings, I mean,
Yes,
it's a
yes.
Take up space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, awesome.
We
Cool.
will have a wing check though.
We will
So if you need to check your wings at the coach check. So I would go with a smaller gown with big accessories that you could take off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's listen to that, folks. You just got an inside scoop, and I love a wing check.
Wing check.
That's great. A wing check. Oh my gosh. And, there's some other, wonderful honorable mentions for, awe-inspiring gowns that are, lots of Disney princess ones, other ones, and many other events. And of course, there's kind of the rogue gal who comes in like Wonder Woman with a sword, down her back, and then, which is probably how I would show up. And is there a sword check? That's kidding. All right, nice. So we've picked our gown. I have to agree with you guys. The Ever After gown is just, I love that movie. It's such a great love story. It's so, for as unrealistic and fantastical as it is, it's probably one of the most realistic. Just their little meet cute with the apple and the horse. I mean, all of that is just so fun. And Drew Barrymore really knocked it out of the park. And we all had a crush on that prince. So here we go. We'll go with the Ever After gown, the Just Breathe. So we're dancing. What kind of dances can we expect? Is there going to be any kind of coaching on the dances? Are we going to have kind of dance lines? What can we expect at one of the balls?
So we have opted to go no formal dancing, no dance instruction. Again, kind of taking this back to what would your favorite character actually be doing at a ball? Dance the way that you want to dance to the music that we're playing.
Killing people. Just kidding. Assassin.
But yeah, we won't have any formal dance instruction, no line dancing, no like period dancing necessarily. Again, we're bringing these, with the quartet, we're having them play this beautiful music, but of pop songs, of things you're going to recognize. So we're kind of just encouraging people to dance however the music moves you. But at the end of the day, this will end feeling like a party with the DJ and playing things that, may be some of your favorite modern day hits mixed with like the Game of Thrones theme song.
Yep.
We just want you out there having fun, dancing however you want to with friends, jump around. But yeah, it won't be anything too structured.
Okay.
We honestly felt like that would take up a lot of time and create chaos.
A little logistical nightmare.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's when you need one of those reenacting gals to come in there and shape everybody up.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun to be able, because you are incorporating the modern music, it is important for people to just feel free. It doesn't have to be pressure.
Yep.
But I will say there's something so fun. I remember my mom loved, kind of 1800s style stuff, everything. She sort of lived back in the 1800s and was very whimsical in that way, in a very Western cowgirl sort of way. And we used to do, if things were getting a little boring at the homeschool group or at the youth group thing, my mom would always want to plan some kind of party, some kind of very traditional thing, an event like this, but just for our little community of people, and to get kids out to dance and do something fun. So there would be a moment of where she would, at the beginning of the deal, she would get everybody, and yes, it was chaos and it was very intense, but she would have us learn her version of the Virginia reel. And it was so much fun because at first everyone is just like, oh, what do we do? And they're bumping into each other and it kind of turns into this fun bumper car ride. But then it was an absolute blast when we actually got through. It was usually just a portion of the song, like a portion of the song doing the dances, and everybody enjoyed that. And so it's just coming together in a community way. And it doesn't have to be structured like that, but that's such a fun thing to do that I think people are going to have a blast at this event. And just for listeners, before we kind of get into a little bit of some of the next stuff we'll talk about here. But we are talking right now with Jenna and Caitlin, WolfHart Productions, with the Nashville Fantasy Ball. Now, you have a Yule Ball coming up December 11th. Sold out, so you don't get on that one. You have the Fantasy Ball happening in February. Sold out, so you don't get on that one. But if you have been really dying to try one of these events, you're in this area of Tennessee, Kentucky, and you want to come, they did just announce a summer ball, which will be very fun, June 21st, right, ladies? And tickets go on sale in January.
Yes.
You are going to want to wait up all night long and click on that as soon as it comes, because these events are selling out so fast. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So the only way you're going to know about this ticket link is sign up on their newsletter, available on their website, and follow them on social media right now. Go there. You're going to love their content. Just they're going to show more pictures and images and inspirations. I love you guys do that for the event, but then you're going to want to follow them to know when those ticket drops are happening, because it's like a whirlwind. Like you got to be ready. We're talking about Taylor Swift level of like, buy the ticket. Oh my gosh. Because if you actually have breakfast and coffee and think about it and be like, oh, is my significant other going to come or not? You lose.
Yeah.
So just forget that idea and get yourself a gosh darn ticket. Be looking for that, everybody. There will be links, and there are links in the notes down at the bottom of the video, or if you're listening on audio, in the description of the episode, that has their website, that has their socials. Please go up, sign up, follow up, because these events are happening all across the country. But this is the only one that's happening here in Tennessee that is just absolutely fantastic. So you're going to want to come. There might be some other ones around, but come on, Nashville, this area, this is the one you're going to want to go to, guys. So make sure you sign up. Okay, back to the fun stuff here. So speaking of dances, though, there are some pretty iconic moments in cinema. Do you guys have a favorite dance? It could even be from a book that you've read or a film.
I mean, I would say Pride and Prejudice, like Elizabeth and Darcy's first dance.
Yes.
When they still hate each other.
Okay. My personal favorite is Mask of Zorro. And
Ooh.
Catherine Zeta-Jones. Like, hot.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's those tense dance moments.
Both of us are like attention.
Yes, that's a good one. I was trying to think what my personal favorite was, and I think in my head I was like, "There's something where it's like kind of, it's very romantic and intense." And I think it was the Mask of Zorro dance, because that one is really, really good. That's such a fun one. Yeah, and that's an iconic dress too. That's a great one. That's very fun. Yes, Coming as Zorro. Characters from Zorro would be so much fun. So this kind of lands into the next question here: is dream dance partner a villain or a hero?
Oh, I mean, a villain.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
All right, so pick one. Pick a hero and then pick a villain.
Oh,
gosh.
I
have to really think about it. Are we talking like 16-year-old Jenna or like late?
Right?
Like some of these answers could be creepy.
Right, yeah. Well, okay. Let's just preface this with everyone. We are talking about fantasy balls. This is a podcast for nerds, so no judgment is allowed at all. We've already talked about wings and wing check, so don't worry about it, ladies. Pick your poison. Who are you dancing with?
Okay, I would say let's throw it back to the labyrinth question a little bit. My one would be Jareth, I think.
Oh yeah,
Goblin King.
Good Goblin King.
Yeah, that's another good band. Yours?
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I know.
I know it's really hard.
I picked Antonio Banderas.
So let's say those would be our heroes.
Yeah,
Darcy and
Zorro.
Yeah.
Who's my villain?
I know there's so many, because what happens to me when I start thinking about this is just I get flooded with
I
like
know.
all the iconic, and I'm like, oh, I can't think. So what we'll do is we'll
I'm
put
gonna
a
throw a curveball. I think it might be Maleficent.
I was about to
oh,
say. Yeah.
nice. There you go. Curveball villain, Maleficent. Yes, yes.
No.
That's a good one. I think Dracula is a
Oh,
pretty good, you know what I mean? Like, that's really riding the line, but
like Gary
that's
Oldman Dracula.
yeah, Gary Oldman. Although I did just watch the Van Helsing one the other night,
I love
and
that movie.
that movie is so much fun.
Uh-huh.
I just love action adventure. There's parts of it that are just like, wow, this is so dated, but it's just a great romp. And
That was
I
my
love that.
first favorite because I mean, I saw it at the Dollar Theater when it came out. I was probably 13 or so,
Mhm.
like parents dropped us off, and I remember being like, that was the coolest movie I've ever seen.
Kate Beckinsale.
With Kate
Yeah.
Beckinsale.
Yes, Kate
Yeah.
Beckinsale. She's our iconic fantasy icon over here. We love those
Mhm.
action gals. So that's very fun. Yes, I think Dracula would be I would be there to kill him, but first we
Yeah.
have to woo the villain, and then if we don't get too brainwashed, you
Yeah.
never know what can happen at a ball.
Never
That's
know.
that's the fun thing. Nice. And then, folks, for you guys, if you want to participate in this fun little challenge we've made for ourselves, drop in the comments who your dream dance partner would be to take to this ball. Of course, I would love to take my husband as my hero. That would be great.
Oh,
Yes, I know. Cheer. So about the ball, but we've got this fun atmosphere. We've painted a picture of the kind of gown we're going to have. We've painted the picture of the music and also who we'd love to dance with. Some of us might need a little bit of encouragement. And you had mentioned beverages. So, what kind of food beverage is at the events is allowed? 18 plus. Like, give us some of the parameters around that.
Yeah, so our balls are 21 and up, and we will have hors d'oeuvres done by a really great catering group here in Nashville. And then we are really excited about our beverages because we will have an alcoholic bar that's going to serve themed drinks that are so delicious. And then we're also partnering with a NA bar and store in Nashville called Killjoy, and they're going to be providing an entire NA bar option, and it is not just like your sodas and soda water and lime kind of situation. It is elevated mocktails, again on theme. And the February ball is an open bar, so guests will have access to both the alcoholic and the NA options all night, and the food is just going to be top notch. All of those things we have really vetted and put a lot of effort into making special and aligned with our theme and what we know guests will want.
And really great wine options as well for both, which we're excited about, as we will actually have several NA wine options even. So nobody's going to have to feel left out with anything. And they will be completely separate, and you'll be able to go back and forth and whatever.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you got it. I love that we've got this balance. And you guys said that you kind of had come from some of the wellness world previously. And so it's very exciting to see a lot of the NA options that aren't just Coke or water or whatever, that we can include various things. And that's a different topic for another time. But listener, if you are not aware of non-alcoholic, delicious mocktails, is what we call them, then you should check them out because you can order those. It's kind of like getting, Shirley Temple, or there were different drinks back in the day that you could get without alcohol, virgin margarita, you can get those kinds of things now, and I think we've got even better options, especially with the wine. I would be really interested to try that sounds fun.
The wines, and things that do something for you as well. A lot of the things that'll be incorporated are going to be like adaptogenic tinctures, and they actually have some fun health properties too. It's not just a sugary syrup,
Yes. Excellent. I love that. That's great. Okay, so that just kind of leads us right into the next question. What is your go-to beverage for binging on your favorite TV show? When you guys get to we probably are too busy to really binge too much, but when you do, what's your go-to drink? What do you grab?
For me, it depends on the mood, but it's either wine or like an herbal tea.
Yeah. And I'm the same.
Yeah.
A red Malbec wine or a chamomile tea.
Nice. I see why you guys are friends.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yes, I love a good cup of tea, but I can drink like English breakfast tea or a black tea all day long. I just love that. Or a good wine. Yeah, it does depend on the mood and the film, but that's fun. Nice. So with that in mind, we've kind of set the scene. Now, the event space itself, it have you guys have you been able to find one that is immersive like this? Also, is there a lot of decor going into it? I want to make sure it's a surprise for people, but you have posted some lovely things online of some previous stuff. So, walk us through a little bit of what the overall vibe of the decor will be.
Yeah, so we really, really love our space. It was a challenge a little bit at first to find the perfect space in Nashville. A lot of your typical, like even wedding venues here are going to be like barns,
Yeah.
um, and or places that are like beautiful historic buildings, but are really just don't work for events like this. They are just harder to work with, or the capacity isn't right. So we really, really love our venue. It's kind of unassuming from the outside, but it's really beautiful already inside. You've got a lot of exposed brick and chandeliers, and it just already looks romantic without having to do a lot. That being said, we're still doing a lot. There's going to be a lot of, I mean, this is a romantic ball around Valentine's Day. So you're going to see a lot of florals, a lot of roses, a lot of kind of like antique decor elements brought in, candles. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. This sounds so fantastic and fun, and I love that these kinds of events are making a comeback with entrepreneurs like yourselves, because I think everybody is ready for that. I think we're ready for some wonderful communal get together and a way to enjoy each other's company that is themed. I think themed events are there's just a little bit more structure to them than just going to a party or just going to a bar or whatnot. That almost allows more freedom rather than less. Instead of
Right.
just kind of going with no expectations, you have just a little bit. You are free to dress how you would like, how you wish to, how you want to. And I think that that is such a beautiful thing to be like, yeah, come be your strange self. Come have fun at this sort of event. And so what do you hope that this event and the following ones will do for people? What is some of y'all's motivation behind, putting this much time and work and effort into an event like this, and specifically fantasy?
So our intention is really to like blow people away. I mean, I think that like our collective creativity and like the people that we're working with, like we really want to take this to another level. Like as you have said, like we are seeing this happen, we are seeing this trend happen, but we're also seeing a lot of just like repeat kind of things, like people kind of doing the same thing. And the intention with Nashville Fantasy Ball is to really transcend the trend. So like not just meet the need right now, but continue to meet the desire and the need for the future. And what that looks like on our end as creators is really offering something that our guests didn't even know they wanted yet, right? Is like taking it to the next level. Like there's expectations, but we want to not only exceed those expectations, but also just bring an element of magic of like, I didn't even know I needed this in an event. So that is our goal and intention. And we just, we want to blow everyone away and show them how much attention and creativity we've poured into this event and all future events.
And then in addition to that, I mean, a core of what we're doing, especially with the smaller events and the communication in between, is really building community here and connecting people that were already in the same city that didn't know each other. It has been so cool. Like our ball hasn't even happened yet. And we have heard from people that were like, I found my best friends, like through just our Discord that we created about the ball. Like people have already met up on their own. They've already started book clubs because they met through us, and just people that kind of felt alone in their own city and are now seeing that there's so many people with the same interests that maybe even just want to go sit in a coffee shop and read quietly together, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but that's definitely a core value for us, and that then they can come to these balls and know that they're going to see people that they've already started to get to know and just have the best time with their friends.
Excellent. Excellent. And in all of that, there's a lot of challenges to any business and to doing events like this, and being women in business and being able to use the kind of creativity that you have, that unique eye that you have. You know, just briefly, we don't have to get into it too much, but give us an example of a couple of the challenges you guys have faced putting on an event like this.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, first of all, it is just a lot. It's wrangling a lot of people that don't necessarily work together or know each other. And it's just constant communication, which is really, really important with a lot of people, with vendors, I mean, the bar team, the food team, the event team, the performers, a lot of that. It is, and trying to bring some collaborations together. I think another hurdle has been not initially being taken seriously. And I think after these first few events that will get easier and easier as people just get it. But having to kind of give our pitch to some potential collaborators or sponsors and then being like, you do what? Has been a little bit of a hurdle. And then I would say, honestly, the biggest one that we keep coming back to, you already touched on a little bit, is the pressure that's kind of been put on us from this whole industry that has exploded over the past year of trying to meet guests' expectations while we're actually over here trying to create our own unique thing, you know? And really trying to stay true to our vision and doing something different, while also not disappointing people that have seen balls on TikToks and they're like, well, they're doing that. I hope that's at your ball.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we don't love that. But, so trying to really, that's been a big challenge, is walking this line of like giving people what they want and not making this about us, but staying true to our vision.
Yes. Yes. And I think that the important, and it's a challenge, but it's also a great strength, is that you are unique. This is y'all's. This is the Nashville Fantasy Ball. This isn't this one, and this isn't that one. And while there are, that's always a thing. And that's part of kind of that issue that we all have to deal with when pursuing a large project like this, is shutting out kind of that imposter syndrome, shutting out, there's time to listen to criticism, and then there's time to just put the blinders on and be like, no, 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 we've got a mission and we're going. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. And so, I think, what kind of advice would you like to, not necessarily other events, I don't know who listening who's hopefully inspired to come, but I don't know if anyone will really be planning on doing any of these events. So maybe the advice is just more about how to network and work with a large crew like this. What's one or two words of advice you could give somebody?
Clear communication. I think that is a strength we kind of came into with this, having our entrepreneur background and really having a strategy and a plan. This is not the kind of industry or event that you can just kind of be like, well, I've had an idea. Like, it really needs, it needs a strategy. It needs a spreadsheet. It needs some true mindfulness to go into it to be successful. And because there's so many moving parts, a team. Like, I do not think this is the kind of thing you can do alone. And Caitlin and I are even like, it's not even enough with just the two of us.
Yeah.
Like, have a team, create a strategy, have clear and prompt communication, because as we mentioned before, all the hurdles that we try and jump through, like that's what fixes those things.
Yeah.
That's how you get over those things.
Yeah.
And building that community. Like, if you are intending to host anything like this, make sure you have a strategy and a team.
And just, stay organized.
Organization.
I mean, this is just knowing how much work it is and how much thought you have to put into it. I mean, Jenna does own another business right now. I have dropped everything. This is literally all I'm doing. And like people need to understand this isn't just a like honestly as simple as we thought it was going to start of like let's just throw a party on the side. It's a like fun thing we'll do in our spare time. No. It is like you need, if you're going to do this, go into it like you would go into starting a business because it is all consuming and it takes that level of care and organization.
Yes, definitely. And a big, being able to allocate funds appropriately for marketing is such a huge thing because you got to sell out those tickets and you've got to get the word out there. So I think you guys are, I definitely wish you the best and I'm so looking forward to the events. And I think that our listeners are going to enjoy hearing about this, be encouraged by it, be entranced, and hopefully want to experience their own whimsical fantasy ball in Nashville. Hopefully the June 21st one is the next one that's going to have tickets live in January. So everyone, please be following the Nashville Fantasy Ball on Instagram. You guys have a Discord group too, and we will be plugging all of their contact and follow info and newsletter of those tickets down below. So I've just got a couple questions left, ladies. And the thing is, I just so enjoy talking to people about this kind of stuff, and it's fun to have a conversation. And I could keep going, so I gotta wrap this up here.
So good.
And yeah, everyone who knows, like, oh, geez, Callie and her long conversations here. But okay, a little bit of a rapid fire question. We'll do a couple of these. Okay, dream venue to host a fantasy ball in, real or not?
Oh, real or not?
Yeah.
No. Oh.
Okay, pick a real one.
Okay,
and then pick
real
a
one
fantasy
would be the Nashville Symphony Center here in Nashville.
Yeah, have to second that.
Yeah.
Have to second that.
Okay. And a non-existent one, a fantasy one, a place, a world.
Oh, okay. Here's my other one. I actually do have another real one. The Dracula's Castle in Romania. I've always wanted to host a ball there.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be perfect. Yeah. Nice.
Mine would be, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany.
Oh yeah, no, it's Neuschwanstein Castle.
There you go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that would be iconic, right? And to roll up to that in a coach.
The photos just alone.
All right. Yeah. Nice. Any fantasy ones for you?
I'm trying to think. I'm sure
the Night Court.
It's where everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a cheating answer. That was a cheat. Nice. Well, listeners, you guys put your thoughts down there. Where would be a dream venue to have this? And if it is somewhere in Nashville or Tennessee area, you never know. You might give the girls a bit of a brainwave. So, all right. Any new favorite fantasy reads or shows that you're hooked on right now?
We were talking about this.
No, honestly, not right now. No. Currently, I have not been watching or reading much. Nothing current. But we're both big Game of Thrones fans, and we have very much enjoyed the House of Dragon show this year. What fantasy reads have we really loved that are anything outside of the box this year? I liked when the moon hatched. Where the moon hatched?
Oh yes, yes, yeah. I've come across that title. Oh,
that was a new first book in a new series this year that I enjoyed. I feel like all my answers are dragon things.
I know.
So
feel the same.
Yeah. If it's not a dragon, I'm in.
Then you're in it. Well, there you go. That's good. Yeah. Yes. When the Moon Hatched, Sarah A. Parker. Yes. Yes.
That was good.
Excellent. Nice. Okay, ladies. Well, it has been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you very much. And folks, you've been listening to Jenna and Caitlin of WolfHart Productions and the Nashville Fantasy Ball. They have the Yule Ball. Maybe you're attending. Check it out if you're not, and get on that newsletter list so that you can get tickets. Yule Ball is December 11th. And then the one in February is what's the date again?
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th. Okay, that's right. That's right. And then, of course, there's going to be one in June. So you can check that out. And of course, if there's not a fantasy ball in your area, then now's the time to come to Nashville and do this one. And so, ladies, we've got one last question. It's the last question I ask every guest. Take your time because it may be confusing. But basically, what is the one thing that you feel like we're not having a discussion about in your business or in fantasy in general, but we really should be having a discussion on it?
So we have a couple of things, but
Yeah.
I think the main one that keeps coming up and is really relevant is building rapport.
Mhm.
And as creatives, like creating an event that people can trust is going to be serve the value and their expectations are going to be there. And then also educating guests on making wise choices with their funds and where they spend their money and who they spend their money with. And so we've put just a lot of energy and effort into that. It's a core value of ours of like building trust in our community that we are real people. We are hosting an event that's valuable and you're going to want to come to, and what we say is going to happen is going to happen. So building rapport, because we've definitely in the wild west of this fantasy ball industry, that is, something we're seeing is failed events, and that is just not something we want to have any kind of part of and have a momentum of. So building rapport in our industry, I think, is something that we need to continue talking about and really educate creators and guests on what to look for and how to do it.
Excellent. And do you guys have can you point to any kind of sources for that you would like to bring up in closing?
Yeah. I mean, I think if we could narrow it down to like just some tips for both guests when they're looking to attend something, and then also creators, if you're somebody listening that's wanting to start like something like this, these are some things that we have found are really valuable on both ends. Both, first, making sure that you know who is throwing this event. Like, are they attaching their faces to it? If not, why not? Are these real people? Are these real people who get this community? So making sure you're showing your face, you're showing up, you're getting into your community. And then do the people hosting this have previous event experience, or have they brought on somebody who does? Is a good one. When you're looking at people's marketing or when you're creating your marketing, avoiding things that you're seeing that are just like all AI images or even, Canva graphics, and looking for people posting behind the scenes. We're real people working on this. Here's actual video of the space we're going to be in. It's real. It's not just a Canva graphic over and over and over. That's like, here's the date and time. Please show up and trust that it's not sketchy,
Like was it in Scotland, the Willy Wonka? I don't know if you guys saw that. I think it was like the Willy Wonka event. Like, oh my gosh, that was so
fun. And there's so many of those things popping up. And then ultimately, our advice, I think, to creators or ball goers is, where is this money being spent? And we have been trying to take feedback from people going to balls all over the world. And what did you love? What did you not love? And we're seeing a lot of creators, figuring this out as they go, but, people pay hundreds of dollars for these tickets. And we see some situations where maybe a huge chunk of that is going to having 5 influencers there, and paying them to create content and all of these things, while, okay, the event was just like in a warehouse and it's plastic cups with Coke. And it's like, it wasn't a great event, but they marketed it really well, or they had all these influencers there. So both as a creator and a ball goer, like, where do you want your money to go? What's actually important to the experience as a guest? And what is actually not what you want your money to go towards,
Mm-hmm. Excellent advice. And I think that that's very, as we're kind of reemerging back into the world just a little bit since COVID, going into more live events, how experiences are such a huge pull for millennials and Gen Z and various of us, whether it's festivals, whether it's events like this, ball gown, gowns and all of these kinds of things that we're wanting to put our time and energy into is, yes, seeing the real people behind it and being a stickler about really supporting real people and independent businesses like yourself. Yeah, I think that's very important. That's what's going to keep things rolling. That's going to want to keep things going. This isn't a Temu, Shein sponsored event, AI, thing.
Yeah.
It is something that these two very real humans, I'm looking at them right now, are putting on, and they're very passionate about it. There's going to be excellent quality care into each detail, and I really appreciate that as someone who has done many events and festivals myself. That is the key thing that we're looking for, is those details, because they really do matter. And so I really, really want you guys to be successful. And I really encourage you guys listening to purchase a ticket to one of their events if you can. When they, remember, you're going to have to get on that newsletter because they go fast. Be ready. Just be ready. But you guys give people plenty of notice. I feel like you do a good job with that, but you do need to be watching the space to know when. Well, gals, thank you so much. This has been very fun. Talking about a bunch of different things and going into the event details, going into some of your favorites, giving people inspiration and hope to get together and build some community. I think it's wonderful. And we will see you at one of these events. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, and I know the sound is a little awful and I am sick right now, but I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you get your tickets. As always, all information is down in the description below, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music. Please go like, share, subscribe, and rate 1232 the Audio Epic. If you are here and you have not listened to 1232, a time travel medieval fantasy audio adventure, you need to. Start at episode 1 and enjoy. Stay courageous.